Milky, I was chatting with your partner in crime yesterday, Johnny Barton, about the role of Rider Liaison at the TT. That's something that's really come on over the last few years. How important is it, do you think, for the continuing progression of the TT?
Yeah, I mean, it's always handy because the TT course is such a demanding and hard place to learn. You know, you have to have a bit of an education into it. You can't just really come and freestyle like you used to do in the old days. You know, those days are gone now, and especially the bikes are so quick now. You haven't got time to think about what you're doing. You need to know what you're doing before you get there, sort of thing. So, you know, it's a definite must. You know what I mean, you've got to be doing it, and it's lucky that me and Barty are experienced lads. We've done it before, we've seen it, we've been there, so it's all nice to go and do that side of things. It shows you since we've been involved in about the last 10 years, when we first got involved, how the speeds of the newcomers have progressed so fast. And now as well, the TT's at such a high competitive level. If you're a newcomer, you have to be hitting the ground running before you even tip up there. So, because there is no slack in the field like there used to be. So, you know, the whole field is really tight and competitive. So, we're there to basically show the lads what it's all about, get them initially started and going. Ultimately, it's down to them to learn the track. We can tell them what to do, but it's up to them to do it ultimately. But you know, hopefully, with me and Barty on board, it helps them, and you know, they get a little bit out of it.
Do you think there is a particular key to learning the TT course, or do you think it's lots of elements of lots of different things?
Yeah, there's no magic thing out of it, I don't think. I think a lot of it is down to everyone takes in information in different ways. You know, at school, you know, some people are good at learning times tables, some people are good at spelling. It's just everyone takes information in differently. Some people like to ride around the car all day long, every day, to try and take it in.
Can I just ask you, is it possible, because it is a very different experience sitting in a car doing it, is it possible to get a lot from doing that?
Yeah, initially, to start with, definitely you've got to. That's the only way to do it, especially if you're trying to learn it in the middle of January. The last thing you want to be doing is doing it on a motorbike. Unfortunately, on the Isle of Man, the way the climate is, it's only basically between May and September that you can ride a motorbike there. The rest of the time you're freezing cold and wet and windy, so you know, you're not going to learn anything. If you went there I get it lots of times, and lots of newcomers will say, well, I'll bring my bike over, and I'm saying, forget that, forget it, just sit in the car with the heater on, windscreen wipers going, you're going to learn it. Because I mean, ultimately it's just about knowing what corner you're coming to. That's the thing. It's not about speed when you first start it, it's just knowing what you're approaching.
Do you think that is one of the key elements, is knowing not where you are now, but what's next?
Always got that. I tell all my newcomers, you have to know what you're approaching. That's the key to it. Always to be challenging yourself. Even when you're watching the DVDs, it's nice to challenge yourself. Like, what's going to be the next corner? What's going to be the next corner? And as long as you know what's coming, you can attack it. You see, you can carry your speed through it. Because that's the trouble with the TT course. You have to carry your momentum. If you don't carry your momentum, you know, you've lost your time.
I mean, listening to, I've watched several of the onboard laps that you've narrated, and one of the things you do say is slowing fast out. Is that one of the real things that you really need to get in your head?
Well, yeah. The thing is with the TT is with the TT course and the nature of it, it's a completely different way of riding than any of the races I've ever ridden before. Because ultimately, on the short circuit, you're being taught from a young age to just go as fast as you can, and don't give any room up. You know, you don't want to be giving any room away, because someone will be up the inside of you and you've lost a position. Whereas on the TT course, you're on your own. You're not racing anybody else. You're not racing the other lads that are on the field. You're racing the circuit. That's what you've got to try and beat. If you can beat the circuit, you're going to win the race. It's as simple as that. So the reason why we say slow in, fast out is ultimately the course is so bumpy. The last thing you want to be doing is trailing the front brake, coming into a bumpy corner. It's just going to have you down. So you need to be braking upright, nice, straight and true. So you get all your braking done, get the suspension travel all sorted out, off the brakes, and then you're back on the power then to drive it through the corner. Now, also as well, you need to be going on a short circuit. You're sort of like you're braking into the apex, and then at the apex, then you're driving out. Because you're running that much corner speed into it. Whereas the TT course, you don't do that. So basically, what you do is you brake steady and true earlier, off the brakes, get the bike settled, and then you drive then through the apex. So you have the speed to power you down the straight. You see, because if you ride a short circuit, someone's just going to have the run on you all the way through. So it's the slow in, fast out thing is a real important thing to try and get into the riders' heads. But it's a completely different way of riding. You see, so some lads get it, some lads don't.
I was talking to John McGuinness a little bit earlier, and I just happened to say to him, can you remember your very first time on Glencrutchery Road, first time out? And he said, yeah, like it was yesterday. Can you remember your first time out?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's as a rider, you've spent years and years and years trying to get to a position where you can actually do the TTE course. I mean, I was a local lad. I'd drive the TT course every day of the week, you know. But and the first time you actually got a closed road, it is phenomenal. It is. I remember going down Bray Hill thinking, oh my God, you know, how can this be legal? That's the way I always, on my first lap I was thinking, because normally I'd be going out at 4 o'clock in the morning doing a bit of a naughty lap, trying to see if I could, you know, get it all to grips. And, you know, you'd always be worried about the police or this, that and the other, or a car or a tractor, whereas the road's closed, it's the whole circuit is yours. It is absolutely phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Can I just ask you, the TT obviously is getting bigger and it's so global now. For the Isle of Man, how important is it, as a Manxman yourself, that the Isle of Man is successful in it? I mean, it's an intrinsic part of being a Manxman, I'm assuming. How important is it for you?
Well, for me, I mean, it's my world. It's for me personally. I mean, I've been brought up. That's all I've ever wanted to do, you know. And so I'm very passionate about the TT, and
I think everyone has noticed that.
Yeah. You know, everything the TT is. I mean, for me, it is the best race in the world, you know. And the TT, as regards to the Ireland economy, is very important because, you know, the Isle of Man used to be a real popular holiday destination in Victorian eras, you know, 1900s and stuff. All the mill towns of the north used to go to the Isle of Man for their holidays and come home again, whereas now everyone goes off to Spain, Florida or something like that, you know, because everyone wants a bit of warmth and stuff. So the actual tourist industry on the Isle of Man, you know, it's only really the TT time that it's at its maximum capacity. So it's very important that it survives and keeps going. And for everybody, you know, the cafe owners, the taxi drivers, the pubs, you know, the hoteliers, everybody makes a little bit of money out of it, which, you know, that's what money you need to live. You need money to live in today's society. So yeah.
Milky Quayle, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you next June with a big smile.
Good man, thank you very much indeed. Have a good day.